You ended up selling at some point, right? Recently?
Yeah, about a year ago, I sold it actually.
You mind me asking what you exited the property at?
190,000. So it's 10,000 higher. And there's a story to it.
What do you enjoy more? Did you enjoy the real estate retail side more or the investment side? Or did you not get far enough on the retail side to?
I hated the retail side. I absolutely hated it.
Why send them to YouTube just out of curiosity?
Sure. So for me, YouTube is the one place where you can build like a true community. Like I used to watch a lot of YouTubers and I followed them from the very beginning with like fitness and other things. All of their businesses were successful mainly because of their YouTube audience.
Hi, everybody. This is Jose Luis Morales. Welcome back to the Morales Group Show. Today, we've got a very special guest, Justin Yurong. He's based out of Las Vegas. He flips homes in Fresno and also wholesales homes in Fresno. He bought his first rental at 21 years old. And today he's going to be talking to us about his real estate journey. This is episode number 93, by the way. Before we get started in the interview, I just want to remind our viewers that if you've enjoyed some of our previous content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you feel that this interview is helpful, make sure to share it with a friend. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on, man.
Of course, man. I'm always excited to see young people doing good things and young people obviously getting involved in real estate and just doing good things. And obviously you're one of those people. So let's just get started by talking to us about who is Justin Yurong, and then how did you get involved in the real estate investment world?
Got it. I think I'll start with who I am. I mean, I'm 24 years old. I live in Las Vegas. I got into real estate 3 years ago when I was 21. And I was just learning as much as I could. It was senior year of college, and I was learning as much as I possibly could, just podcast every single day during classes, during work. I was learning about rentals, and it just made it seem so doable by seeing so many other people do it. And I was just saving a ton of work, working a bunch of minimum wage jobs and just saving like every penny. And I got to a point to where all my money was in the stock market. And I was like, you know what? I think I could buy a house with this. And that's when I made my first leap. It was, 20 to 21 years old, got the first rental. And from there, I was hooked. I was like, this is a family paying me money to have a rental. It showed me how powerful it was. And that was kind of the start of my journey. So I make a lot of content about what I do as well on YouTube, social media, like all that stuff. So that's kind of a little bit about me.
Congratulations on buying it at 21. I bought my first one at 23, and I thought I was young getting into it. So congratulations. Tell us about your first property. What did that look like? How did you find it? How did you fund it? And what did the numbers look like, if you don't mind me asking?
So yeah, that first deal I found actually through a realtor. So I was searching on a website called Bigger Pockets. I'm sure you're familiar. Yeah. I just pretty much asked a question like, I need help buying a home. I don't know how to do it. And a Fresno realtor reached out to me. He's like, hey, let's sit down for coffee. So I connected with him, and then I just started looking with deals with him all the time. He would send me stuff. I would drive around on my own. And I was looking actually initially for a house hack. So I was looking for a duplex or a quadplex, something like that. I was offering on those, got close on a couple, but then none of the offers panned out. But there was this one single family home that really looked like it worked out for my numbers for a rental. And I ended up offering on it. The numbers were, so it was on the MLS, and it purchased it for $180,000. At first, I rented it out for about $1,400. And rent was like a little bit less than 1,200. So rough cash flow, 200, not including expenses, but in repairs. But I held that for 2 years. So that was kind of how I found it. And it was super easy. I mean, I managed it myself, and I learned through YouTube pretty much. YouTube University was my teacher.
It's crazy how much information is on there now, right?
It's insane.
Literally, people have no excuse. If they wanted to do something, they've got no excuse not to do anything. And then did you grow up in Fresno, or why Fresno, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I grew up Fresno and Clovis. So grew up there. I only moved to Las Vegas maybe 9 months ago as of today. Yeah, that was a story. And I didn't finish the question. I'm sorry. But that, as far as like purchasing and stuff, that was the purchase price. I put 15% down. And at the time, because I was in college still, I didn't have a full-time job. So my sister actually co-signed for me. And she didn't put any money, but she put her name, and she trusted me enough. And so super grateful for her. That was my start.
So even if you don't have the credit, I mean, you can build partnerships or get help from other people that obviously trust you to be able to buy a property. You ended up selling at some point, right? Recently?
Yeah, about a year ago, I sold it actually.
You mind me asking what you exited the property at?
190,000. So it's 10,000 higher. And there's a story to it. I don't know if I want to go into it now, but
Do you want to? Or
yeah, I'll go into it. I just know your
all right.
time. So I sold it for 190 right when I listed it, and I wanted to sell it because I wanted to pay for all my marketing expenses for my flipping business. I was in a rush, and so I listed it myself because I was a realtor at the time. Listed it for 190, immediately got the 190 offer, and it was like the beginning of this crazy seller's market. So I wasn't even sure. I was like, oh, 190, that's exactly what I wanted, and accepted it the second day, and then like 2-3 days go by and I get multiple offers above 190, so at 200 and then 210, so like $20,000 more than what I accepted. And I was like, man. But that was a learning experience. It was like I let my emotions get to me, and so that was the first big mistake, I'd say.
It's funny because I'm flipping a property right now and I received a full price offer at the beginning. And my immediate reaction was, because I thought I was selling it at top of the market. I was like, I'll just take this offer. And then sure enough, like a couple hours later, something else comes in that's better. But sometimes when it's your own personal property, it's kind of like a little bit more, not attached. There's a benefit of having somebody neutral doing it because they're not as attached as somebody like you. So the good thing is that you betted on yourself and now you've opened up a flipping business. Tell us about your transition to Las Vegas. And at what point in your career did you start this flipping / wholesaling business? And then the lesson to all of our viewers as well, too, is he went all in on himself. He's literally sold a rental property to have enough liquidity to be able to invest into marketing and invest into his business, which means he believes in it, which is awesome from such a young person.
Yeah, so I think the transition to the flipping started before I even moved to Vegas. It was when I was still in Fresno. I became a realtor shortly after I got that first rental because I wanted to learn more about the investing side. And I learned that it didn't really help me learn the investing side as much. I ran into a mentor of mine, my first mentor, and he lost his guy who ran his whole house flipping operation. And I met him a year prior to actually working for him. He just trusted me. He trusted me as like, I asked him what the job position was. He was like, just make money. And so I was like, I have no idea to do that. So I was in charge of finding deals, negotiating them, closing them, managing escrows. Like I did 5 deals with him. That was the biggest learning experience I've ever done in like 6 months. After just 6 months of that and getting the experience and confidence, I was like, I think I could do this all on my own. I pretty much am already. Just I was using his money. And so from there, I branched off and I went on my own. And it was a lot slower than I thought it was going to be when I went on my own. But when on my own, I was in Fresno for like a year. I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. And for a year, I didn't get any more deals. And then I moved to Vegas. And I think Vegas was when I got my first deal locked up for a flip, and it was virtual. So I was like, okay, now there's another thing. Like, I don't know how to do this virtually, but that was the transition. It was a lot of learning on my own. I didn't really know what to focus on at the beginning until I surrounded myself with other people who kind of knew what they were doing. And I was like, oh, like that's what you do every day.
And so it's funny that, not funny, but like, it's like you started making some money, like, oh, this is easy. Let me try it on your own. But then there was a lot more that maybe you didn't know until you got surrounded by the right people. What was the reasoning for moving out to Vegas? Was it just to be closer to a mentor?
It was actually to be closer to my little baby niece. She just turned 1 year old. My brother had a baby, and she came to visit me in Fresno for a week. I got to play with her all week. And once they left, I was like, I think I'm going to move and follow. And I just packed up and left. So that was the main reason.
What lessons did you learn from that first mentor, the guy that you flipped 5 properties with?
I think the biggest lesson was it gave me proof of concept, because these deals, like the wholesale deals and the flipping deals, like I ran everything start to finish. So I'd find it, negotiate it, manage the escrows, find the end buyer or flip it. The big thing I learned is that it's possible. Before I met him, I had no idea that was possible. I thought it was just like I was trying to go one rental every single year, every 2 years. But then I found that you can actually make real estate a full-time thing if you really set your mind to it and know the right thing to do. So it was proof of concept is what I learned.
Kind of seeing that it was possible, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that year from where you didn't lock up anything to when you actually locked up something, what lessons did you learn there? Or what would you say was like some of the things that maybe don't do if you're looking to get into flipping houses versus yes, do this?
The things that I was doing that was wrong is I wasn't focusing as hard as I should have been on lead generation. So when I was working with that mentor of mine, I did a lot of cold calling, door knocking, stuff like that. And when I went on my own, for some reason, I don't know why, I stopped a lot of that. Like I just didn't do as much of that. And like if you're starting any business, especially real estate investing, lead generation is going to be like your number one thing. You got to find deals. And I was focused on all the little things. Like I got an office on my own. I made the LLC. I did all the things that you shouldn't have cared about as much. And so that was the lesson that I learned is like, focus on the money making activities first, and then the rest kind of follows.
So you got all carried away in the logo design, the business
Yeah.
art versus, hey, look, I got to go find the next deals. What would you say are like ways to lead generate as a real estate investor? Maybe just for somebody young like you who doesn't know where to start. Would you say door knocking, cold calling? Would you say posting bandit signs?
Sure. So if we're talking real estate investing, and I've talked about this before, if I were to go back and do it all the way over again from the start, I would have gone all in on relationships. And that's because of my skill set. Like I did a lot of cold calling and stuff. I still do. I have callers. Most of my deals come from relationships. So I find them by connecting to wholesalers every single day, connecting to realtors every single day, and just building relationships, offering on the MLS, which these are all free. They're all free. And that's why I'm thinking for someone young with not a big marketing budget, you can find deals for free. I would have done those things and social media. Those are the four things I would have done. So wholesalers, realtors, MLS deals, and social media. That's what I would have done by far.
And it's so simple too. A lot of times you think you got to go market to all these people versus the wholesalers already have what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You have to obviously take care of the rest of the process, which is excellent that you would say that. Tell us about your first deal, the one that you locked up in Vegas. And then also, what is virtual wholesaling and is that real?
Sure. Well, yeah, virtual wholesaling is definitely real. I'm going to start off with that, the first flip story, the first virtual flip, because this was an interesting one. I actually didn't find it in the traditional sense. I found it on Tinder, like the dating app. So yeah, listen. So I was living in Fresno at the time. I knew I was going to move to a new city, Vegas, and I didn't know how to meet people. So I was like, let me download this app for the first time ever and swipe. And then I didn't really look at it. And then when I moved to Vegas and was actually in Vegas, I looked back at the app and I was like, oh, I have connects. Like, let me see who's there. And all the people in Fresno were like, wait, you're not even in here. Like, oh yeah, I was kind of messing around. But someone had seen my social media content on Instagram and was like, wait, do you buy houses? I was like, yeah, I do. Do you have a house that you're going to sell? And she's like, actually, I do. I'm a new wholesaler. I found a deal. It's locked up. And I was like, can you send me the details? Let me buy it. I ended up not being the highest offer on it, but I kind of pitched the idea of like, I want a long-term business relationship, and I got it. And that was the first flip, from Tinder, from a wholesaler. So good experience overall. A lot happened on that deal. It still ended up being a good deal for me. It was just funny how I found it. And then as far as the virtual wholesaling, it is absolutely possible. Like I live in Vegas. I don't do any deals or wholesales in Vegas. Everything's virtual in the Central Valley.
You're in a market that's very similar to, or Vegas is a good market to wholesale. Why not get involved in that market versus Fresno?
I think the main thing for me at the time is when I did make the move, I was a realtor for like a year or two in Fresno. And I walked all those streets. So I remember the streets like top of my head. And the thought was I could either do it Vegas here, learn a whole new market, or just kind of stick with what I know and just try it virtually. So that my thought process is like, I want to try this virtually and see if it's possible. And it's been working so far.
Yeah, not only that, but it kind of opens up the opportunity for other markets now, because a lot of people have that mindset that they can't do it unless they're there physically. I have a buddy who started wholesaling as well. And he's in like 4 or 5 different markets as well too. And as a real estate agent, sometimes you can't do that, because you're kind of positioned in a way where you got to be local. Did you make money on that first flip property, the one that you tied up on your own?
Yes, I did. I was expecting a projected profit of 30,000. It netted me 20,000. So a couple things happened on there, but it was a good deal.
You mind me asking what a couple things happened that brought the projected net down from 30 to 20?
So the two main things happened. One was there ended up being I don't know how to say it, asbestos or that on the home, and ended up restuccoing the whole exterior of the home, which, was a lot of money, half of that. And the other thing was actually vandalism. So this wasn't in the best area of Fresno. This house, even with the alarm system, after the rehab, got broken into so many times, and it was just vandalized so many times. It confused me actually, because I did deals with my mentor in bad areas, but with this particular one, the squatters or the people that had broken in, they literally like snipped stuff that you wouldn't expect a squatter to snip, like the plumbing or breaking the electrical without stealing anything. So they broke a lot of stuff, and that added up to be a lot. And those two main things ended up dragging that expected profit down.
Did you ever find out why they would snip those things? Because I've had problems with break-ins, and usually the alarm fixes it.
No idea. Still to this day, I even asked my contractor, I was like, are you sure they didn't steal anything? They're like, no, they broke it. They stole the alarm system too. And so
In terms of finding contractor virtually, is this somebody that you already had a relationship with, or is this somebody that you kind of started establishing a relationship with recently? And how did you go about selecting the right contractor?
I mean, so far I've been using people that I already had a relationship with, but even to this day, I'm still always looking and asking for referrals. I get multiple bids on every flip, and if I don't get one I like, then I still will try to seek out more to get other options.
What about on the real estate side? Do you still have your real estate license at all?
I do have my license in California, but I hung up my realtor side. So I'm just licensed, and I kept it so that I can refer out stuff to agents as listings and still get referrals. That was the only reason I kept it.
What do you enjoy more? Did you enjoy the real estate retail side more, or the investment side? Or did you not get far enough on the retail side to?
I hated the retail side. I absolutely hated it. I mean, when I did have clients, I treated them very well, and I took pride in that. But I think the reason is, like, as an agent, you think that you're your own boss and the business owner. You're an independent contractor, and at the same time, all your clients, they're kind of your boss. You know, every time the seller say, "Oh yes, sir," you know, you do whatever they wanted. It was different from even having a W-2 job with one boss. So and I felt like I had multiple bosses, and I think that's the main part that I didn't like. And I like with the investing side, it's a lot more freedom for me, I think that's why.
I don't think I've ever had it explained that way, where it felt like you actually had multiple bosses in a side, which is kind of true in a sense. Besides the relationships, obviously the wholesaling relationships and a couple of the other things that you mentioned, what things would you not focus on as a real estate investor? Does cold calling work, door knocking? And if so, who do you cold call? Who do you door knock as well?
That's tough because I think if you're doing any type of marketing on volume, everything will work. Some things might work better, some things might work a little bit worse, but they will all work. And you don't really know it until you try it. And then once you try it, you have enough data to adjust. So I wouldn't shy away anyone from anything, actually. Like, I did a lot of cold calling, texting, door knocking. I have never done direct mail, though. I've dropped off mail, but I've never done direct mail. And honestly, everything's worked, like, to an extent. Some things for me just work better because of my certain skill set with, like, networking and stuff. But other people might be killer cold callers, direct marketers, you know, like, you don't know until you try.
Yeah, I tried that recently, where you try it. If it works, great, you keep doing it. If it doesn't, then, I mean, what do you got to lose? You just try it. One of the things I like about wholesalers versus sometimes real estate agents is that I almost feel like wholesalers and investors are more entrepreneurship than your average real estate agent. Like, you guys aren't scared to hire assistants. You guys aren't scared to hire virtual assistants. You guys aren't scared to hire telemarketers. And sometimes as real estate agents, most of them are just kind of running their own ship and they don't want to delegate anything. Was that something that you were naturally born with that, or is that something that you learned along the way?
So that I didn't have at first. At first, I wanted to do everything myself. I had to struggle with it until I met this very young guy in Vegas, and he was crushing the investing game. And I just asked, like, how are you doing it? And he told me how he has a couple cold callers. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm going to get cold caller. Someone young as me, like, when you see proof of someone as, like, you view as a peer and you see them do it, it becomes super possible in your mind. And I think I had a lot of limitations on myself before that.
After the first deal, maybe pick out another deal that maybe stands out a little bit. What have your next deals looked like, basically? Have they been flips? Have they been wholesales?
I've been doing mostly wholesales, mainly because I've been partnering a lot with people. Because, like I said, I get a lot of my deals from networking or social media. Like, for example, one guy just reached out to me on Facebook. You know, I mean, he called me and it was a random number, didn't have his number. And I answered the phone. I was like, hey, like, you know, how can I help you? And he ended up having a deal because he watched my YouTube videos and Facebook and all my posts. He's a complete stranger, and he found a deal from a realtor, not locked up yet. And I asked him, you know, I can help you any way I can. I can just guide you if you want, just kind of step back. Like, I don't want to push myself on the deal, but he's like, let's just partner on it and let's split it. Let's try to wholesale it together. And, you know, he's going to be walking away with like almost 20,000. And the same thing happens all the time. Like with someone else, the same exact situation. It was a realtor like, hey, I don't know how to wholesale this. And he ended up walking away with 16,000. But I'm partnering. I'm not taking all of it. I think for that reason, I'm going so hard with the social media.
It's funny because I ignored social media for years. I was like Ryan, that we just ignored it for a long time. And now I'm becoming a believer in it now. Obviously, I'm investing a lot more time into it. What would you say would be, based on what you've learned, what works, what doesn't work? What do you recommend doing? What don't you recommend doing?
I've been posting consistently maybe 7 months now, and I've learned a ton. I think as of right now, every single week I put out 160 or so posts a week, and that's just three platforms now. So I recommend to anyone getting started is just to start putting out content. I do recommend a couple platforms. I like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok and Instagram has the most chance of like virality, TikTok specifically. And my strategy is everything is for YouTube. Like I'm only posting on Instagram and TikTok to bring people to YouTube. That's the only reason. But if you don't have the time or you're not ready to be posting long form content like on YouTube, I would suggest TikTok. It's the easiest thing. TikTok and Instagram. To record a video now, it takes like 2-3 minutes. Just one little video on TikTok, and you can repurpose it and put it everywhere. So that's what I would recommend.
Why send them to YouTube, just out of curiosity? What's the purpose or the vision or the logic behind that?
Sure. So for me, YouTube is the one place where you can build like a true community. Like I used to watch a lot of YouTubers and I followed them from the very beginning with like fitness and other things. All of their businesses were successful mainly because of their YouTube audience. It's like a forever marketing strategy that you have and you can tap into. With TikTok and Instagram, it's a lot like your followers on on TikTok and Instagram aren't as strong versus a subscriber on YouTube. Because for me, like if I'm going to subscribe to someone on YouTube, I have to really like their content or they're just a close friend. And that's the reasoning behind it.
How do you formulate a strategy where you're driving traffic to the YouTube account? Like, let's say that you're doing a TikTok. Are you just letting them know to subscribe to your YouTube channel? Do you just have a link there, or what would be the way of doing that, just out of curiosity?
I just have a link there. I rarely say, follow my YouTube unless it's like a video that I am very confident with that resonates. And I'm like, yeah, follow me with YouTube at the very end. But for the most part, it's just having the link there. And especially on Instagram, like I post a lot of like, hey, new videos up and stuff like that. And I repurpose my YouTube content for there.
Now, some of these properties that you've wholesaled, that you've received calls, have they been in your area?
So far, they've been in my area, like the Central Valley, not specifically Fresno, but they've been around Fresno that I'm comfortable enough with.
Okay, so you tie up a deal, then in a wholesale, you flip the contract to somebody looking to buy. How do you go about like finding the end buyer, or what would you say are some of the strategies that you use to find end buyers?
I think there's a lot of ways, but I think the easiest and the cheapest is to leverage your Facebook groups in your area. If you're in Fresno, you can search Fresno real estate investing or Fresno real estate and pretty much go on the Facebook groups, add every single person and message them all. And a lot of people will have posted, hey, I'm looking for a deal, or other wholesalers in those groups posted, hey, if you're a cash buyer, just drop your emails. And that's an easy way to do it. And there's other ways like paid ways as far as skip tracing them from like PropStream or something like that. But for me, it's been simple enough for the beginning stages, at least, to just use the Facebook groups and relationships.
And then if you wanted to get more advanced, you can look up who the cash buyers have been in the last 6 months and then look up phone numbers for them, in other words. Well, it sounds like you're doing very well. Anything else that you think would add value to our consumers?
For anyone watching, you might see me, and I'm a younger guy. I would say if you're wanting to get started, one, document your journey. Even if you're doing nothing right now, being younger, and it resonates really well with people when they see you trying. And eventually you will get it if you just kind of stick to it and focus on the things that will bring a deal for your lead generation. So that's kind of my one thing is like, I'm a big believer in creating content.
Do you ever have any reservations as it relates, or like any limiting beliefs as it relates to creating content? Like, oh, maybe I don't want to post this, or maybe I don't want to post that. Because I think some people, that's kind of where they get hung up. And sometimes people are like, well, they would never want to watch me because I'm not here or I'm not there. If you do get those, how have you been able to overcome those?
The overcoming it is just posting it. I swear. It's like, it's the hardest thing because I felt the same feelings at the beginning as far as like, oh, it's not really that good. No one's going to like it. But at the end of the day, no one really cares. And social media, just like business, it's a volume game unless you get really lucky with a viral video. And, to get lucky, you probably have to be putting out a lot of videos. My suggestion is always just start and try, and something as simple as just picking your phone up and saying something. And then most people will do that, but then they won't post. I would just say, just click the post. And the worst that'll happen is nothing. No one's going to really hate you anyways.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
That's a good question. I think for me, In 5 years, I hope to have automated my flipping business. And I think my vision is I want to still be working on my personal brand with social media because I love it. That's the one thing that I've really enjoyed as far as finding something that's a good creative outlet for me. The real estate, that's kind of like a means to an end. It's an income maker. But the content, helping people and seeing other people grow, like even for the short time I've been doing it, it's crazy. Like it makes me feel so happy to see other people benefiting from what I'm saying.
I get the same feeling when I'm doing the social media stuff now. All right, everybody. This was episode number 93. We had Justin Yurong out of Las Vegas. Younger guy, 24 years old, flipping, wholesaling, doing things the right way. Justin, if people wanted to kind of get to know you or follow you on social media, how would they go about doing that?
You could either follow me on Instagram at Justin Yurong, and the Yurong is spelled Yurong, or preferably YouTube, Justin Yurong.
Awesome, Justin. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you.